Dagestan, Russia, the land of some of the most fierce and feared fighters in the world. A place isolated by astonishing mountains where all the young boys are training and dreaming to become a mixed martial artist like their idol, Khabib. In the last years, this region provided the MMA world with some of the most talented wrestlers, which are currently dominating multiple organizations. The UFC, Bellator, PFL, and many more. However, out of all the kids that pursued the wrestling martial art, there was one boy that was different. Shara Bullet Magomedov, a tall, red-haired young man that was bloodthirsty. Coming out of the Dagestan mountains, Shara Bullet Magomedov ended up to be a ferocious striker, which was set to eliminate every opponent that comes in his way. With a 90% KO rate from all of his fights, the UFC couldn't wait to be able to sign him. And now Shara Bullet is expected to be the new boogeyman in the UFC middleweight division. Is this one-eyed elite striker that's calling himself the Pirate going to be the next MMA superstar? Born in May 1994, little Shara dreamed of becoming a footballer, but by the age of 13, after being involved in multiple street brawls, he fell in love with fighting. However, he didn't attend wrestling or combat sambo trainings, which at the time were very popular amongst youth, but chose to start boxing. He was a very talented kid, which showed tremendous potential, participating in multiple amateur championships. After he grew up and moved to Moscow, due to being admitted to a university, Shara Bullet continued to follow his dream of becoming a fighter and started Muay Thai boxing. He quickly became known for his striking abilities, his punches, and also his leg kicks being extraordinarily well executed. In this period, Shara Bullet defined his fighting style, which is proeminent to this day. And it's what he is famous for, an avalanche of punches and leg kicks combined. Shara Magomedov surprised all of his future opponents with the volume of leg kicks that he was bringing into the fight. In the next 5 years, he continued to fight, gain experience, and learn multiple martial disciplines, pursuing his dream of becoming a big MMA fighter. However, after many bloody battles and straight-up wars in the ring, one fight changed Shara's life forever. In 2016, Shara Magomedov suffered a very bad eye injury, a detached retina after one of his fights. The young prodigy had to undergo a total of 8 surgeries in a period of only 18 months in order for his vision to return in the damaged eye. However, his vision in the right eye was not as before, and in addition, his eye turned grey. From that day, people and even Shara himself started naming him the Pirate, which brought an even darker aura around his name, Shara Bullet already being a feared fighter. After his recovery at the end of 2017, Shara decided to go to Thailand with the goal of fighting in Chinese MMA organizations, where he finished 4 opponents in the first 4 fights. In 2019, he returned back to Russia, this time to fight in kickboxing, where he won a couple of fights but left after losing to a controversial decision. Finally, in 2020, Bullet made up his mind and decided that MMA is the route to follow, making a permanent move. He was quickly signed by the Bellator, but due to the pandemic, he never fought there. From February 2021, Shara came back and fought in multiple Russian organizations. His top striking and unbearable kicks made Shara even more famous in the anime world, never losing a fight and always finishing his opponents. He even won a tournament where the prize was an apartment in the capital of Russia, Moscow. Shara Bullet Magomedov's fame rose with each fight as he was putting a show every time he was entering the cage, but he was also very criticized for his outside-the-cage behavior. Instance, a very big scandal in which Shara was involved, was when he beat up a civilian who was kissing his girlfriend in public, which is forbidden in the Islamic world. This case was even on TV, the entire interaction being recorded by the security cameras. In Shara Bullet's defense, the guy he approached was the one that started the fight, not knowing that Shara was a professional fighter, which led to him being the one beat up. Another controversial moment was when Shara kicked his opponent after he got submitted in his first grappling tournament. Shara's side of the story is that he signed up to compete at lower division, but was placed at the highest division with BJJ black belts. He was also suffering an ankle injury, so he decided to exit the tournament, but his next opponent made a deal with him to not go for ankle lock if Shara would still take the match. However, when the match started, his opponent went straight for the ankle lock, and that's why Shara went crazy on him. Despite these events, Shara Bullet Magomedov was still one of the most loved fighters in Russia. And in the summer of 2023, he got signed by the UFC. The long-awaited moment came for the young Russian warrior, and he seized the moment on his first fight in October of the same year at UFC 294, where he won a decision against a well-rounded opponent and showed his tremendous potential with his fighting abilities. In the eyes of many, Shara Bullet's journey has just begun, and his book still has many pages to be written. His fighting style is different from all of his division competitors. His striking is very creative and powerful, and his only weakness seems to be his wrestling, despite being from Dagestan. However, the middleweight division is stacked with strikers, so until he will arrive in the top 10, where there are more threats in regards to being out-wrestled, he has time to improve his grappling skills. What do you think? Is Shara Bullet Magomedov a prodigy that will become an MMA superstar? Does he have the potential to become a champion? Leave a comment below with your opinion, and don't forget to subscribe.